if you work in an office, you're an office guy and you work there, and you work with 6 women, they all owe you on Valentine's Day a box of candy. And I saw that they opened the marriage desk at the airport. Old people who most of them are on that train on the bus. After they've had that lunch, are farting the whole way because it's taking time to move down into their lower regions of their bowels, and so they have to sit there, and it's just horrible.
If you're claustrophobic at all, if you are scared of the dark at all, or if you've seen too many movies, Descent and all the other, typical horror films, wow, don't go in there, because it is. You get 100 feet in, and you realize, wow, this is a serious thing, and they go up and down and around. Oh yeah, don't ever go into a mine by yourself. Bullets and burgers. That's great. Is that American or what? Huh? That's right. That's right. Rush Limbaugh has a smile on his face now. What are your thoughts on Valentine's Day?
Well, in Japan I cleaned up. Because Japan had this idea. Valentine's Day is supposed to be romantic. They don't have a concept of romance. In Japan. So what they have in Japan is the idea of what they call giri choko. Giri is the Japanese word. It translated as obligation.
Okay.
So if you work in an office, you're an office guy, and you work there, and you work with 6 women.
Okay.
They all owe you on Valentine's Day a box of candy. Now, there's no romance involved. That's why the giri is obligation.
Yeah.
They have to give it to you. So when I was a teacher, when I taught at the women's college, it was a little different because the school year is out on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
But when I taught company lessons, and these were, I would teach classes, and they had what they called the OLs, the office ladies. And I would get
Really?
Yes, that's what they call themselves. What do you do? I'm an OL.
Oh.
Yeah, office lady. It meant that they wore. You could always tell them they very typical. They wore a blue skirt and a white blouse, and you see them all over. And if Valentine's Day is an English lesson, and I've got 3 lessons that day, and I've got 12, 15 women, I got 12 or 15 boxes of chocolate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd have to trudge them all home, and what am I going to do with these? Now it doesn't work the other way. They had another one they called, which was February. I think it was February 15th. Was White Day. Basically, that was the day that they sold off the chocolate that they didn't sell for Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of the reciprocal. Oh, now you give it to the women, but hardly anybody followed that tradition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they owed you, huh?
Yes, they
after their
I hated working.
Cycles synced up.
I hated working.
Made you miserable.
It was terrible at the hotel.
Yeah.
People would always piss and growl about how much they charge for flowers. Of course they do.
Oh,
It's capitalism.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to charge you anywhere like that. That's going to, hey, this is an occasion. And Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, if it's a bouquet of flowers and it's normally, $25, they're going to charge you $40.
At least.
I mean, that was
At
back
least,
then.
yeah.
I mean,
We moved a ton of flowers. Yeah, we moved a ton of flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a day of, I mean, come on, you're going to get soaked.
You're going to get soaked.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Same with reservations and.
Well, that's funny.
And,
So, OL.
Yeah.
That seems almost in today's global offense society. It seems all controversial, but I guess it's okay.
Yeah, as far as
lady.
I know, they still call themselves.
I guess OH or OW would be a problem, but
yeah. Well, even my students would write down, "What do you want to do when you graduate?" And they would just write, "Become an OL."
Huh.
Yeah, just in office. Because usually, what it is, again, in a more traditional society, this was kind of a way station of sorts in your life until you get married. Huh. This was it. They would go there, and if they did well, this was the grand plan, right?
Yeah.
In Japanese society, particularly at that time, if you did well in school or you went to a good college, you got to work for a good company.
Okay.
And who else works at the good company but other male recruits from good colleges? They make good husbands because they're going to make more money. So that's where you get to meet the guys who went to the high-end colleges in Japan, which would be like Todai, which Tokyo University, Waseda, which was a private school, Sophia. These are the big name colleges. So guys who graduated there would get into the top companies, and if you were an OL, one of them, you had a better chance of. Now, if you wanted to be more independent on yourself and be as a woman and get a job that paid money, which might sound like, oh yeah, they're more in the modern world. No, you want to become a flight attendant.
Right.
And that way there you just needed to be pretty.
In the Philippines, of course, is nurse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that still the case?
Yes, it is. And they have a glut of nurses in the Philippines. Now they'll work overseas. They'll work in Middle East, and they'll go away for a few years because there's a shortage of nurses in industrialized countries. But they have too many in the Philippines because they went to college there. In fact, I know a few of them that went there, didn't leave the country, but ended up working, interestingly enough, as call service agents, working for U.S. Medical insurance companies.
Wow.
Since they understand the medicine.
Yeah.
That they can then advise. And I said, so people complain, they call, and they have no, it's the other way around. They call the insurance companies to let them know, what some of these charges are. So
hell of a deal.
Yeah.
So Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Valentine's preparation in Vegas.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's obviously a corporate?
Oh yeah,
it's a conspiracy with Hershey and Brock's.
Yeah, it always has been.
Yeah,
and that was the same way in Japan. But here, and of course here you have two things going on that almost overlap. It almost did this year. You have Valentine's Day and President's Day, right? It's a 3-day weekend, so people can come in. You can kind of get married, whatever.
Yeah.
Or
it's a good weekend. Actually.
It is a good weekend, and I saw that they opened the marriage desk at the airport again.
They did. I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, sure, why not?
Yeah, and there's a new Art Deco Instagram ready wedding chapel.
Yes.
That they opened.
Yes.
It was all done in black and white. It's very hard on the eyes. I think it's dizzying. It's
a little Rorschach.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah. So they opened that. But some of the chapels were nice. Our friend Fred got married at the Treasure Island. Remember?
Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that. But you're right about the airport. It's we have a chapel. We have a gym. We have a full doctor's office.
Yeah.
We're prepped. We're ready.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a booth now, kiosk, if you will, for hangover recovery.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yes.
But people coming in from out, if you have a layover in Las Vegas, at least there are things to do. You can even lose money, right? They have slot machines.
Oh gosh.
There, and I don't know of any other airport that has slot machines. Right there as soon as you get off the plane.
You know what? Absolutely. I don't know it, but I've said it many times on the show. It's a pleasant sound to me when I come home and I fly in there, because back in the day, it's a lonely thing now to arrive in Vegas being, I think one of the more lonely places, but it used to be people would meet you at the gate. You'd come off and all the frustrated people waiting to get on the plane or staring at you, but then you'd have your wife, your girlfriend, your friend. And now it's just this lonely trudge to the baggage area.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the sounds and the whirring and the buzzing and the beeping. It's actually pleasant to me when I come home.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And now you're going to lose. I mean, they don't pay at all. Those machines are notoriously tight.
No,
that's what I heard.
I mean, they're kind of like the grocery store, with the $100 gallon of milk. I mean, you can win. I mean, you can definitely, go up like $50 or something. But normally you don't. Normally you throw that last 20 away and just call it a night.
But it gives you something to do besides just wander around an airport.
True. True. But I was hearkening back to our days at the concierge desk and Valentine's, and of course, roses upon roses upon roses, and lilies and baby's breath and the whole thing.
And remember spreading the rose,
spreading the rose petals.
Doing that too. That was one of the things. There's certain things guys just aren't good at.
Yeah, I tried to make myself get into it. I would make a heart and an arrow through the heart, and with the petals, and and of course the candle thing was an issue. We've said that a million times. You can't light candles in the room. You'll get in trouble. It's against the fire code. So we had the digital candles, that flickered. That was very funny. And the was it Balatori, the cheap, crappy champagne, that we would often give away, but then people would, and then, oh gosh, I mean, I would, Cristal and Dom Pignon, I would arrange all the time.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, chocolate covered strawberries, that was a big deal. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of, uniqueness. I mean, there was for a brief time, there was a Victoria's Secret quite close to us, and I did have to go for lingerie a couple of times. Yeah. Good stuff, not the Walmart frocks that I
you had to do those, like a parachute with a hole in the top.
Yeah, but and of course, the restaurants, a day of restaurants were virtually impossible to get into. Yeah. It was tough. I mean, real professional Valentine's people either go on the 13th or the 15th. Yeah. You don't go the day of.
You're right.
But now, the only thing that I think that is really cool on the Strip, there's only two places. There's that little place that we've mentioned before, where Bruno Mars proposed to his girlfriend, outside of Hyde on the lagoon of the Bellagio. Right. That's a great place to arrange, although that's going to cost you. And then they light up the Eiffel Tower, completely red. Nice. Yeah, it looks fantastic. But otherwise, it's okay. It's just expensive.
Again, it's
silly.
Noisy. It's and again, I would always, if it were me, I would pick a place like Hugo's Cellar.
Oh yeah,
downtown,
Port Queens.
It's a full evening and dinner, and that's to me it's not you don't want, to me I don't want to be rushed.
Yeah, always came with a rose for the girl.
Yes,
regardless of
the occasion.
Valentine's, I was going to say Halloween. Yeah, regardless of the occasion. Yeah, still there. Fantastic service and food. I think Hugo's Cellar at Fort Queens.
Yeah, what's interesting to me was also talking to guests and seeing that. Yeah, I mean, there are things that you do the traditional. It's roses. It's in Japan they even had, if I remember, it was red roses on Mother's Day unless your mother was dead, and then it was a white rose. So they had, roses had different symbols, so you wouldn't want to get them like white roses just to be different. Huh. And it struck me that men and women were wired differently. I mean, we have different outlooks, and people will try to, I want to do something that they thought might be romantic, that maybe the opposite gender there would not think so. Right. I had a guy one time call, and he asked me how much it would be to fill the bathtub with champagne. I guess he's seen too many movies like this, and I thought, dude, man, it's going to be expensive. Even the rock cut stuff is $25 a bottle back then, and it's going to take a lot. I can sit here and calculate it, but it's going to be. So I said, well, hang on there, and I asked one of the women we worked with. I said, hold on. I said, this guy wants to fill the bathtub with champagne. What do you think? And she says, ew, I don't want to get into that. No. It's cold and it's sticky. And when I told her, I said, no. I just asked one of my colleagues, and she thought the same thing I did. The woman's not going to want to get in that bathtub. No. So just fill it with water and put the rose petals on top. It'll have the same effect. Maybe she'll want to get in the water if it's warm.
People are so silly.
And I had women say that they were asking about different packages, and one of them was the roses with a little teddy bear.
Yes.
Oh, I want to get that. I says, you're getting it for a guy, right? Yeah. I said, guy didn't want a teddy bear. Yeah.
Well, guys today, I don't know. Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. I said, but I'm just telling you, I don't think the guy really wants the teddy bear.
No. That's funny. So white roses is a dead mother.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think red is romantic and intimate and I love you. Yeah. Yellow I thought yellow's either friendship or pregnant. Oh. One rose is a pregnant, and that's a bad rose. It's and then white rose, one of those two. I think it's a crossover. Now I did. Oh gosh, people wanted the fire and ice, the white rose with the red top. Yeah. And of course, we worked with a guy named Jose.
Jose was very good.
We had mentioned that before. There was a business issue with Jose, and the commissions, but he was very good. But those fire and ice, he would charge You know, they went from like Pro Flowers was like 19, and then Jose was like 70. You know, the day of.
Yeah.
But well, John, it's the Pod Bay Doors Show, episode 96. John's here.
Yeah.
As always.
I'm always here.
And you're always here. You got to keep the balloon on the ground. That's John. We have a question that led me into something that John wanted to talk about, or his idea to talk about were tours out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, because we used to book those.
Yeah.
You know, besides shows, very often in hotels that's the bell desk job. But at ours we did that.
Yeah, now it's they have desks that it's no longer concierge. Concierge is a forgotten art, I think. But we had a question from Donnell on Facebook, or Donnell. It could be a gentleman. John and Jamey. Now, I found this one. I had this one marked a while ago.
Right.
I've been waiting, but whoever Donnell is, they have a great sense of humor. I love Vegas. Ellipse.
Good.
I'm going to talk to you about the ellipse one of these days, and the usage of it. I love Vegas. Ellipse. Can't stand gambling, and don't want to file for a second mortgage to eat for a week in Las Vegas.
That's right.
Good for you.
You got to get off the strip.
What tours can we take? So
good.
That led into our topic today of tours outside of Vegas. So John and I, when we were concierge, couple years ago.
Yeah.
We again, we probably mentioned this, but we were given the benefit, and I think this was an absolutely wonderful thing to do, and perfect thing to do for concierge.
Yeah.
We were, as concierge, we were invited to go to restaurants, to go to shows, to go to special event areas, to know about the convention facilities, and we were going on tours. We went on the tours so we could succinctly and intelligently talk to the guests that wanted to take these tours. And to this day, I think that that was a perfect practice.
Yeah.
And we became very knowledgeable of these tours. And so I think John and I probably went on the majority of them together.
Yeah.
Our department was split up periodically to go on the tours, just due to availability, and somebody had to run the desk. But John and I went on quite a few tours, and so the first category was the bus tour. And there's a couple different types of bus tours in Vegas now. One which is very, very common in all travels: Japan, Philippines, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, and the lot, which is a hop-on, hop-off style. Vegas does not have the hop-on, hop-off company.
Yeah.
That you see throughout. We don't have the duck tours, which is the boat / car. We don't have those. But what we do now have, and they are the bane of my existence when I'm trying to get around, is the big bus.
Yes, the double-decker.
No, actually, it's not. They are double decker, but we have the Deuce, which is our local bus, which I hope stops business and goes away pretty soon. They're not, because they're always in my way. But we have the Deuce is a local. The big bus is our tour bus, and that is the hop-on, hop-off style, where you can go. Now, is it worth it? Well, that's kind of the question we're going to be asking, during the show today. Is it worth it? Well, hop on, hop off, for example, that I just utilized, called the Circulator, seriously, and in Washington, D.C., was entirely worth it because the monuments are significantly
They're pretty far apart. Yeah, you got to do some significant
especially
walking.
when you're going to like Arlington.
Yeah. If it's a nice day and you can walk a lot of those places.
Yeah.
But if it's weather's bad, which is often.
Yeah, it's either miserably hot or really cold when I went. But the strip basically runs from, well, if you're going to include everything, it runs from the M all the way down to the Union Plaza.
Yeah.
Or the Union, what used to be called the Union Plaza, or actually all the way down to the Best Western, which is just past that. First.
Yeah. Those would be the two anchors of Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Stick a pin in those, and then you got the strip. That's not very long.
No.
In fact, between Mandalay Bay.
Which
resort.
it really is. I think if you ask most people, it's Stratosphere to Mandalay Bay, right? I mean, that's where everything is concentrated.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But from Mandalay Bay to the M, there's not a lot. I mean, it's Mandalay
South
Bay,
Point,
South
maybe.
Point, M, and then
Desert.
Lee's Liquor.
Yeah, Lee's Liquor. Right.
and some condos, and then you got the M.
Yeah.
But if you want to include everything, it's the M all the way to the Best Western. And gosh, I would venture to guess that is 5. You think?
Yeah,
5
maybe
miles?
5 miles.
Yeah, 5 miles. And it's straight.
Yeah.
So is $44, by the way, for the big bus hop on hop off, which includes an audio tour while you're on there in the language of your choice. I believe they have most languages. And they don't include the M, so you're right. It's to the Mandalay Bay and all the way down to the Strand. Is it worth it? I don't know. Is it worth it to you?
No. I mean, we took the tours that we took. What was hard in some cases was, the tour companies put us on the tour to help them or help us sell their tours. Sometimes they were so bad that I couldn't do that. I mean, one of them, that was
not in good conscience.
Was like the Hoover Dam tour. Now that was the least painful of them, just because it was the shortest.
Yes.
But I'm going to go to the Hoover Dam. Yeah, you're going to go there by way of the Vitamin World and Ethel M chocolate factories because they're going to get their money this way.
Yes.
The worst one, and I really feel I lucked out. I was scheduled to go on the tour to the south rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
And it was almost like saying at the last minute I canceled my plane reservation and the plane crashed. Like, oh God, I really lucked out. Well, our other colleagues went on it and they just said how horrible it was. It was 16 hours from, they leave the hotel and they stop off at Vitamin World and Ethel M's, and then they go on to, they stop for lunch at some budget, place, a $5.95 buffet. And then they get to the Grand Canyon about 3:00 in the afternoon, where they can spend an hour and a half and turn around and come home.
Yes.
And then the old people, who most of them are on that train on the bus, after they've had that lunch, are farting the whole way because it's taking time to move down into their lower regions of their bowels. And so they have to sit there, and it's just horrible. So,
Yeah, it is.
For $110, that's what it was. Rent a car and drive down there. And I would say the same thing. I mean, if you want to get outside, if you really want to see things, if you want to do one thing, fine, go ahead and, hey, it's worth it to you, maybe to get on the bus.
Yeah.
But if you really want to say, I really want to see downtown, I really want to get out of the strip area, see the desert. Because, when you fly into Las Vegas, particularly at night, it's a sea of black and then a big ball of light, right? And what all that black is desert, right? I mean, there's nothing there. Yeah. But there are interesting things to see. Again, we talked about Red Rock. If you go the other way, there's Valley of Fire, there's Lake Mead. There's lots of different things to see out there. We talked about mines that you can visit. Nevada is known is a silver state.
Yes.
They still have functioning silver mines that you can visit. If you want to do that, I would think it'd be better off to rent a car, because that way there you can stop where you want and you don't have to stop at Vitamin World.
No, I totally would agree. Now, from the research that I have done, the company that we used to book for bus style tours was eaten up by a company that's really nationwide, Viator, which is the bus company. And you're right. Red Rock, Grand Canyon West Rim, Grand Canyon South Rim, West Rim, South Rim. Oh, gosh. West Rim I would describe it as, it's the typical Vegas vacation Chevy Chase. You roll up, you look in the hole. Hey, that's great, and you get back on the bus.
Yes, take a picture.
Yeah.
Now take your selfie and get back on the bus.
South Rim, of course. Not of course. Is the more interactive rim.
Yeah, that's
you
the
can
better
still
one.
go down to the floor of the canyon. You can actually hike to that location from a different. You can hike all the way down the canyon. You can stay overnight, which requires permitting. And there's a lot more to do. There's gift shops and eateries there now.
Yeah.
And of course you're gonna hear about didn't exist while John during our tenure. But the Indian nation that is in control of that area has made this sort of bridge walk.
Yeah, the glass bridge walk,
yes.
or see-through.
Yes, it's very cool. I've been there. It is absolutely. It fluctuates in price. It's kind of like the surge pricing of rideshare, but it's about $75 and not worth it at all. I mean, it's very interesting, very neat to go on there, but wow, $75 piece during the peak season is not good. Now, one of the things that we never talk about, of course, is the North Rim. Very difficult to get there nowadays by tour.
Yeah.
Because it has a very small window, but I would have to say it is the most spectacular. If you can go there at the peak of spring or at the just before fall hits, it is absolutely wonderful to go to, and I recommend it. But as John said, rent a car. That's the best way to get those. So hop on, hop off of the Strip, not so much. $44, 110 plus for the Grand Canyon, Red Rock, Valley Fire, that kind of thing. Again, you can rent a car. It's a. I wouldn't ride share those. You could ride share Red Rock, but it's hard to get back. You don't want to get out there. So that should cover the bus, I think. Helicopter.
Yeah.
Now, we have mentioned. Oh gosh, ad nauseum. The Maverick helicopters.
Yeah.
You're going to hear Maverick and Papillon and Sundance.
Yeah, Sundance. That's the third.
Sundance and Papillon. I can't disparage them as companies. They have had some issues.
They've lost a couple.
Yeah, they've had some. So they've had some crashes. I mean, that's just the way that and it's unfortunate, and it does happen. But we always went with Maverick. Maverick does a Vegas Lights tour, which is I have this note down, $104.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the Strip at night, it's called Vegas Nights. Entirely worth it.
Yeah, and see, to me, that's something romantic too.
Yeah.
You're able to see that.
Yeah. And they have brand new jet helicopters, and they are. Oh my gosh! I mean, it's such a nice experience, very professional from the get-go. I mean, they have it's easily gotten to. You could get there with a rental car or a ride share.
They'll pick you up at the hotel.
They'll pick you up at the hotel.
Yeah.
So Maverick again, I still think it would have my recommendation. They have Vegas Nights isn't the only thing. They do Grand Canyon tours.
That was really when I went on that Grand Canyon tour. That was really good.
Yeah.
Because they at that time this was you could buzz the Hoover Dam.
Yeah,
and they
right.
kind of do a dive around there, a gentle dive.
Yeah.
But that was good. And then you land and you get some champagne and you hang out there. At the part of the Grand Canyon, and then you get back in, and then the guy would buzz the stratosphere tower.
Yeah.
You'd look you could see people eating in the restaurant. So you kind of did this the Strip too.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite sundown. I mean, once nighttime, and then back to the.
Now I have the Hoover Dam listed a little bit later in the show.
Yeah.
It's actually a question to you. But Hoover Dam has changed. You can't buzz it with the helicopters.
Yeah.
You used to be able to float up to it.
Yes, we did that too.
In kayaks and boats, you can't do that anymore. You can almost see it around the corner, but they stop you very soon. But helicopter tours, I mean, you're looking anywhere between $104 for the basic 35-minute, I believe, flight, Vegas night flight to at 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5 hour flight time Vegas Grand Canyon tours, all of which are entirely worth it. It is a once in a lifetime thing for most people. I do recommend it, but you're going to go up to anywhere between $300 and $500 per person, depending on your tour of Grand Canyon.
Depending on your weight.
Yeah,
right, if you're really big.
Oh gosh, we had many problems, didn't we?
Oh man, I remember this fat woman came to the desk once. I mean, she was ginormous,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like she and I thought, please don't ask me about helicopters. Please don't. Ask me. So what does she ask me about? I'm interested in a helicopter tour. Oh, well, you sure about this, lady? So I explained it to her, and then she says, okay, I'd like to book that. So I'd have to call, and they would say, okay, the name and the weight. Approximate weight of the passenger.
Yes.
And I would, that's what how I would phrase it to her. How much do you weigh?
Yeah.
And the weight of the passenger. and she said, 285.
Yeah, and 220 was the limit.
And 220 was the limit.
Yes.
So I said 285. Well, she's going to have to pay for 2 seats because basically, I mean, you overloaded. Now they can't, they either have to get a kid on there or that's why these things can crash sometimes, right? If it's overloaded.
Oh, yeah. And people, in today's, concierge today, if there are any left, I'm sure have a great deal of difficulty in this age of sensitivity.
Yeah.
And it's no joke. I mean, this isn't a jetliner. This is not, Southwest. But I mean, we ultimately had to be blunt and say, listen, it's an 8-seater. Yeah. And you're 2 people, and so I
finally told her, I said, you tell her that she's gonna have to pay for it too, and she understood. All right, I'll do that. Yeah. But and one of the Papillon, I believe it was Papillon, one of the ones that they lost while we worked there. The problem was they had 2 helicopters. They had 2 groups in a helicopter, and they balanced the weight out. Well, they had to split up a couple. That was the husband was in one helicopter, the wife was in the other, and then they bitched and moaned about it. And when they landed and got out, this was in the Grand Canyon, and when they went back on the return, they both got in together, and either the pilot just was tired of hearing them bitching and moan and didn't think about it, and that's the one that went down because it overloaded he lost control of it.
I remember that very much.
That was the issue.
Just as an aside, because we're one of the hubs sort of a hub for Southwest, they finally admitted why all their flights have been late recently.
Why is that?
Because they have an inordinate number of planes that are out for servicing.
Oh, okay.
They're allowed, I think, 5%, and they're at their limit. Which 5% of their fleet is a big deal.
Yeah. Because I flew them just the other day. I had to go to Phoenix, and my flight was supposed to leave at 6:45 p.m., and it didn't leave until then. It was delayed. Now, we had bad weather, and it was delayed, and anyhow, it didn't leave till 9:15. Now, on the way back, I noticed, I was a little concerned that there were 2 flights arriving from Las Vegas that had been canceled, including the one I'd been on the night before. So I thought, gee, is there a problem in Las Vegas that the planes can't leave? Well, no, I looked at other airlines that were on the board, and they were flying in. And mine went out on time. In fact, I got in early. But yeah, that makes sense now that they just didn't have. Why are they canceling? They gotta take it out of commission.
Yeah. So if you have the budget for a helicopter, and would love to do that, we highly recommend it still. After all these years, I think it's wonderful. Now, off-road tours. We used to do one with a company called RAT, which is Rebel Adventure Tours.
Rebel Adventure.
John concluded that they are no longer in business.
Unfortunately.
And that happens. But there's a couple of tour companies. I can't recommend one or the other, but I know that they're out there. Vegas Off-Road and Las Vegas UTV tours seem to pop up on Google search, quite often. And they have some pretty good ratings, like on TripAdvisor. But they offer Hoover Dam, like John said, the mine tours. The mine tours are probably the borax mines. Silver mines are up near Carson, I think, still. But the mine tours here are pretty cool.
Yeah, there was one we went on that I think was about an hour out of Vegas. El Dorado, I think it was, and that one there was the company owned it. There's a little town there. I mean, they got a little gift shop and things like that.
Right.
They sometimes film. They said, and believed it at the time, some music videos that were filmed there because it does kind of look like an Old West sort of thing. The family still owned the silver mine, and they still mined it. You go in there, and it was great, particularly when it was beginning to get hot in the summer, and that inside the mine is really cool.
Oh yeah, I did something you're really absolutely not supposed to do. During a hike, I went into the mine. It is absolutely scary. It's absolutely very, very cold. There were breather holes that they would make for the miners, and you could if you're very hot in the desert and find one of these holes, it's wonderful. It's just literally like an air conditioner. But if you're claustrophobic at all,
Yeah.
If you are scared of the dark at all, or if you've seen too many movies, Descent and all the other, typical horror films, wow, don't go in there.
No.
It is. You get 100 feet in, and you realize, wow, this is a serious thing. And and they go up and down and around. Oh yeah, don't do it don't ever go into a mine by yourself.
No. Well, this one here, of course, I mean, the family who owns it, they have it all lit. So you at least get to see what it looked like, and I don't think there's much silver left in there.
Yeah. As another aside, for photographers, videographers, people that just want to see some cool stuff, there's a place that you can drive to, and I believe a couple of the companies included Nelson, Nevada, and it's very popular with photographers that want to, kind of hone their skills and get out there, and models too. They want to go out there. They have downed planes and old barns and everything else, but it's called Nelson, Nevada. Very fun to go out and just walk around. Photographers, it's a stipend that you pay of $20. Very reasonable, and you can be there all day. Major Motion Pictures have filmed there. Not Leaving Las Vegas. Johnny Depp's film.
Oh, Fear and Loathing.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, filmed there as well, but called Nelson, Nevada. But Hoover Dam tour that we have off-road, there's several versions of it where you're driven. There's Hummer tours, which we've done.
Yeah.
Still very cool, and the guides are always a lot of fun. Includes lunch. You go, it's one of the few things where you can go to the Hoover Dam and see it, especially with all the new construction and everything else. It's kind of cool. They will also take you by the hot springs. You can't get in, but they'll take you, where they are. The mine tours, as John mentioned, and the razor tours, which are the most expensive, which are the Polaris or the four-wheeler, the quads, and those are driven by the patrons, by yourself, with a guide in his own razor. But the 3.5-hour tour runs about $500 per person. Yeah, so wow. $5. But very fun. I mean, I loved the Hummer tour was fantastic.
Yeah. So really, what it comes down to is if you just want to see the place like the Hoover Dam, you can rent a car and go down there and see it. But if you wanted it to be a more unique experience, like the off-road, that's something that you should then book with a tour.
Yeah.
Somebody want, and that's really, again, it's not real comfortable, right? I mean, we went bouncing around, but hey, it's fun.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's part of the fun of it.
And a lot of people coming from the East Coast, haven't seen the desert.
No.
They're used to the pine trees and the blue spruce and all the beautiful landscape, and they haven't seen the brown gray cactus filled desert that we have.
It's funny how sometimes I see, particularly in some social media sites that I now and then I look at. Particularly, I'm curious what people post, their photos or videos that they take of Las Vegas, particularly foreign people. And very often what it is stuff that we kind of laugh at is the desert. Yeah. They've never seen that, and it's something that's so alien to them. And then I look at whatever they wrote about it. Isn't this beautiful? Yeah. Well, I guess, sure, it is. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's its own beauty. In the same way that when I was in the Philippines, I just thought that was gorgeous, the countryside. And it's like, what is it? It's very tropical, but it has its own beauty.
It's not here.
It's
not there,
Right. And it's not like something that you see where you're from. So if you do have the time, again, from Las Vegas, people don't think about things. Yeah, sure. There's a Hoover Dam. There's a Grand Canyon you can drive to. You can even get into Bryce, into Utah. That's not very far. A couple of hours.
See, that was the thing about our Asian travelers that we dealt with. The American, sometimes the German. They were. I never understood why they wanted to. Americans love gambling.
Yeah.
And most places don't have, this is actually not true anymore, but most places didn't have gambling. So they would flock to Vegas and love the gambling. Now the Indian reservations galore have all this
kind
gambling.
of watered that down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the Asian travelers loved to not gamble and go. They planned like 2 or 3 of then they stayed here 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days going out, and they loved it. And it was kind of nice, for us to deal with that. It's just like, because Asian travelers have casinos where they're from. Yeah. And I always was amazed they want to come here and gamble as well. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, in Japan also, they have a real fondness for hotels, big, elaborate lavish hotels, probably because housing situation there. Most people live in really small quarters, and you get used to it. So they like to go to a hotel and have a cup of coffee at the coffee shop, or which is a little more elegant than. I mean, it's not like Denny's. It's more elegant, or the nice. Most of the hotels had some real fine restaurants. Those were similar to what you have here. Not as many. They might only have one or two.
Right.
They like to do that. That was a very popular thing to do for special occasions and what have you. Or just, hey, let's just go to the this hotel, the Hilton. In Tokyo, and we're gonna have coffee, and we'll call it an afternoon. That's kind of a nice thing. So you come here, and it's just like a smorgasbord. Then, right? You have all of these high-end hotels, and they've all got lavish restaurants and multiple ones. We had even when we just had the Venetian when it opened, we had 16 restaurants.
Right.
Just in the Venetian alone.
We just had Star Canyon. That's all.
That's right. That's right. Well, when it opened,
they're all called Star Canyon.
Yeah, and the Grand Lux.
Yeah, and the Grand Lux.
Yeah,
that's right. But as you mentioned, the next sort of tour, if you will, hiking. Of course, we've talked about hiking. Yeah. Red Rock Canyon, Valley of Fire, Mount Charleston. Yeah. I mean, you can from Las Vegas. You are 20 to 50 minutes away from almost everything you can do. You can hike, you can snow ski, you can water ski, you can
right
boat.
Now there's a lot of snow in Mount Charleston.
Lots of snow.
Yeah.
Lee Canyon, of course.
Lee Canyon as well.
Kind of a little half-ass ski place, but it's a good. You can ski, and then just a sort of a jump from there is Bryan Head, of course, which is an acceptable one. But Mount Charleston is a wonderful place. Hopefully, it's recovered after the government shutdown. People are, along with Joshua Tree, they did not treat it well. But it's a great place to go. Definitely it's again, rent a car. We have a giant rental car place. They have hundreds and hundreds of cars. And you don't need a 4x4. All of these that we've mentioned are paved and they have roads, but quite honestly, Red Rock and the 17-mile loop, pretty cool. Valley of Fire, I think, is a great place, and they have things that you'll never see. Like there is a monument and still structures left from the CCC camps.
Yeah, my dad was in one of those in Arizona.
And mine too. Yeah. And they were, if nobody knows what those were camps for children that were sponsored and started by FDR during World War II, and great program. Yeah. People don't really they thought it was child labor. It's really not child labor, but
because my dad was 15, 16 years old.
But there's still remnants of those in Valley of Fire, and in adjacent to Valley of Fire, there is a place called the Bowl of Fire, and these are wonderful places. To hike.
You see the Native American petroglyphs, which is like their hieroglyphics on the canyon walls. There's some great rock structures that you can see there, and they call it the Valley of Fire because there's so much iron ore in the rock. It's fiery red. Yeah. So it gives it that look as they described it, of being on fire. Yeah. So you really see that when you get out into that part of the state and this part of the country where the rock that's why it's dark red, and you get out to even you go out to Red Rock, they call it that, and you can see these striations where it goes red and the colors change within the rock. Really pretty.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. And for those photographers out there, or filmmakers, or painters, a great time to go is now. Because there is snow, so you have that stark contrast between the white and the reds and the yellows. It's fantastic. So get away from the Sex and the City slot carousel, and get out there and do something fun. Lastly, before there's a question for John, gun tours. That John and I spent a very long time being concierge, and at no time was I ever asked for guns.
No, I wasn't either.
Yeah. Now you can't sling a dead cat who's been shot in the head without hitting a gun place that they constantly go out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
If you
won
want,
open one at the Venetian. You remember that?
yes.
They talked about it.
They talked about it.
Go shoot an AK-47.
AK-47.
Uzi
Yeah, they have all the automatic and semi-automatic. Now the big ones are the miniguns. You know, the ones that can chop a car in half, or a Barrett if you want a 50 cal sniper. You know, and want to be the American sniper. It's all very cool. If guns are your thing, definitely there's that option here. But there are mobile shooting ranges that you can go, and I'm going to classify them as a tour because you go out there basically. And what they have are either converted shipping containers, or there's that one company I know has a custom built sort of trailer RV. And they go out there and and you can shoot. Now the rule here, and of course all you gun guys from Vegas are going to correct me, but if you can't see the highway from where you are, you can discharge a firearm. And that's basically the law of shooting that. So you can go in the desert and shoot the gun as long as you are away from the public. But it's actually getting more and more difficult because there are places that are being built that are like waste disposal. You got to be careful. You'd be shooting at a landfill. But the mobile shooting ranges are very popular nowadays. And there's one that I thought was pretty cool. They also have a static, a brick and mortar version of it called Bullets and Burgers. That is great. Is that American?
That is, yeah. Getting more American.
That's
than
right.
That.
That's right. Rush Limbaugh has a smile on his face now. Bullets and Burgers. Check him out. I think it's bulletsandburgers.com. But if you want to, shoot guns and eat meat, there you go.
There it is.
We can do that as well.
Now, can you shoot and then eat what you shot? You know?
No, not a lot of hunting in Las Vegas. A little javelina. That's about it. But okay, John. Willa.
All right.
I like that name.
Yes.
Yeah. From Podbean.
All right.
It says, John, and this is, I'll be interested to see what you think. Or actually, I don't know if you've been. Is Hoover Dam worth it?
Oh. No, I have been to Hoover Dam.
I have
I've been on the dam tour, as you like to call it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's...
How long ago?
I guess it's been 10 years.
Have you been there since the 11 opened?
No, I haven't been there since the 11 opened.
Okay.
To me, it's a monument, right? It's one of those other things. Yeah. It's a photo opportunity. If you go there and go across it, or walk across it, and one end is a clock. It shows Nevada time, and at this time of year, Phoenix is an hour. There's an hour time difference. Yes, because Arizona is always on daylight savings time. That's right. And we're so
the rebels that they are.
Yes, and it's somewhat of a problem for me if I work as I have on a project in Arizona, knowing the time that we're going to meet with our clients when they say, well, we'll schedule a meeting at 10. I thought, okay, well, is that 9 o'clock my time or your time? So yeah, I mean, that's fun. I wouldn't make again. I would not, if somebody comes in from out of town and I'm going to take them around, depending on who they are and how old they are. Older people tend to like that sort of thing, maybe because it's been trumped up as the not using it's been. The propaganda of it, of the American ingenuity and that the Army Corps of Engineers, they designed this great thing and all of this concrete and you may as well look at it. Movies have been filmed there and everything. Go across it, but if you want to go on the inside of it, if you're really interested in how that works or whatever, fine. Yeah. But I found it myself to be, I mean, if you have children or something like that, they're going to be bored out of their minds with something like that because they show the pictures of how it was built and things like. If that's your game, you think that might be interesting, fine. But otherwise, I would be just happy driving out, going across and getting out of the car, looking at it, take your picture, look outside, holy shit, that's far down. Yeah. Drive across, hey, I did, I'm an hour younger, an hour older, right? Whatever. Right. When I was in Thailand, I'd always wanted to see the bridge over the River Kwai because I'd seen the movie as a kid. Yes. And my dad had talked about it. He'd never been there,
Yeah.
but we talked about it. And I always thought as a kid, I had this vision in my head of the River Kwai and the bridge over it. So when I was in Thailand, I went down there, and there's the bridge, and what is it? It's a bridge, and they had a train that went across it. So I walked across it and came back, and I thought, okay, I've done it. Scratch that off the bucket list.
Why not?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, I did it.
Yeah.
If I go back to Thailand, am I going to go down to the River Kwai and go across? No, I wouldn't do that again. It's just something I said I wanted to do. So
Yeah, I had a friend from college that wanted to do all the roads.
yeah.
And I don't know if he ever did it, but yeah, you're right though. They can be disappointing. However, I have to slightly disagree.
All right.
I totally agree with kids. Don't have the kids.
Yeah.
And if you have an oldie, be careful because the Hoover Dam is either up or downstairs.
Yeah.
You know, and it can be. There hasn't been a time when I have driven across it. Now the drive, you don't drive across anymore. You avoid it altogether. But it's windy. Very windy.
Oh, yeah.
But the views are pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And John's absolutely right. If you unless you have a little budding engineer, leave the tiny kids at home. The internal tour I did enjoy.
Yeah.
I am not an engineer, but the you can see the turbines and all that's involved in what's going on there. I did enjoy that. They have a museum now, of course, on the exterior. The gift shop, of course, you got to do that. They have actually a pretty good cafe, and some now that the 11 is built, which is the 11 highway that avoids it all. You miss out on the points of interest, the observation points, which are pretty cool if you get out and look at that. Now I'm speaking, from the point of view of a photographer. Again, I do think it risks being the Chevy Chase Vegas vacation. Hey, that's great. Get back in the car.
Right.
I do have to admit that, but I think that more people are surprised by what it is than aren't. So I would say it's worth it. So
now, can you still drive across it? I mean, I know you don't want to do it, but you still can.
Yeah, absolutely. You can the little windy road that we used to get stuck on all the time. You can absolutely do that. Of course, they have diverted the semis, which caused the problem.
Yeah.
So it's not actually a pain in the ass anymore. But you certainly can.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you're going to drive there, you may as well. You do get that picturesque little view of Boulder City, which is quaint. I guess it's kind of the city that time forgot, or I think they like it that way.
Yeah.
But you can't have any building there over 1 story or 2 stories, something like that.
Yeah.
They do have the haunted hotel there. Right, supposedly.
Oh, and they have a killer cafe.
And they have the killer cafe.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you get a chance, Boulder City, go to a killer cafe.
Yeah, I think even that was on that the
Diners, Drivers, and Diners.
Yes, exactly. That Guy Fieri show.
Yeah. Now that's an argument I had recently, and I don't understand I'm on the ass end of the argument, but Boulder City used to have to drive through that. It was a giant speed trap. Then Boulder City, then you'd have to go through the dam, and it could cause you, an hour delay. And, I always thought that Boulder City, wanted the people coming through. But I've been told very confidently that they voted to be bypassed because they want people to stop coming there because they were wrecking it, and they were, and I can't imagine that.
Yeah. Well, I saw this on the news. I'd like to look into it a little bit more, but they were thinking actually, getting away from Las Vegas momentarily, of charging people to drive down Lombard Street in San Francisco. And actually, you would have to arrange a time, like an appointment.
Right.
This is your time to drive down Lombard Street, because the people who live on it are sick and tired of they're sick and tired of people driving down, stopping, and knocking on their door to ask if they can use the bathroom. Or, I mean, those are the polite ones. The other ones are just pissing in the bushes.
Sure.
And they get tired of that. And I know I have a colleague who lives in New York, and we were talking about the Amazon decision, and she's very happy about it. Because a lot of New Yorkers, not because of Amazon per se, they don't have the infrastructure to handle something like that. And they've got the subways that are crumbling. And I've seen this in other areas where they think, oh, this is great, they're going to open this up, but they haven't thought it out. And the people who are living there don't want it. They've already got jobs, and they don't need that growth without thinking through the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
So I can see where maybe people in Boulder City, maybe sure some of the cafe will still stay there because people will go drive there specifically for that reason, right?
Yeah.
But other people are just sick and tired of maybe, because maybe they don't feel like they benefit from it. It's more of a hassle.
Yeah, I agree with that. And New York, I think, has had their opportunities, and they have opportunities. I mean, there are a tremendous number of people out of work in New York as well. But I think Las Vegas would never be on that list, unfortunately, because Bezos doesn't like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But I think this would have been a perfect spot. We have land outside of the city, and I think our jobless rate is pretty high. But that's interesting that you say about New York. I was wondering if more people were like, yeah, Amazon, stay away.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of jobs.
It's a lot of jobs, but yeah, and I know that when I lived even in Northern California, when I lived in Santa Rosa at that time, it was 100,000 people. It was a kind of it was a largest, Santa Rosa's largest city on the coast, between once you get out of San Francisco, between there and Portland.
Uh-huh.
So it was, like I said, it was about 100,000 people, and it was really nice. But then they started building up the area.
Uh-huh.
They adding more houses, more people moved in. Oh, isn't this great for the economy? Well, yeah, but they didn't build any more roads. And then when they did, it just wasn't enough. So you ended up with these massive, massive traffic jams.
Mm-hmm.
And it just became a place that was no longer really a nice place to live. For me, I moved out because of that. And you see that in areas that they didn't master plan it or whatever. And we have the problem here also, with traffic. I'm fortunate I don't have to deal with it every day, every morning, but other people do, and they're always doing some kind of construction. That spaghetti bowl has been forever, because as soon as they finish what they said they were going to do, they realize it's already obsolete, and we need to make it bigger.
Yeah.
So when I moved here in '99, they were working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still working on it.
Okay.
20 years later.
Yeah.
It's not the same project. It's a different part. It's a different project, but it's still, they're doing something over there. They're always doing something on the highway. So, and then I don't think they'll ever finish.
Yeah. If you visit Vegas, don't ever go north on the freeway from the strip. Don't do it.
Go around it.
All right. I'm going to put you on the spot, John, before we say goodbye to our listeners. Best tour you've taken anywhere in the world?
Oh, God, best tour?
Best tour.
I would have to think overall. Of course, I didn't pay for it, but it was the Maverick helicopter tour to the Grand Canyon. I think was a great tour.
Okay.
I tend not to go on very many, like tours like that. Mm-hmm. I took one in Taiwan to the place they called the Takoro Gorge. Mm-hmm. And I remember afterwards thinking, I must have been fucking insane because they put you on an airplane, and this old airplane in bad weather,
right? And
when I pressed on the side, because I had a window seat, it actually moved.
Yeah.
The padding there was just torn away, and flew through bad weather to get to this place where we can then go on a bus through a windy road that was a sheer drop off the edge. To look at this place, it was beautiful, beautiful gorge, and then get back on and go back to Taipei. Okay. And I looked at it and I said, that one was, and then of course I did a trek. I guess, would that be considered a tour?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. That would be it. The Himalayas.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Himalayas, that was amazing.
Yes. John has done things that we can only aspire to.
I would definitely do that again. And I was talking to a guy on the airplane last night, and he got me enthused. He was from Tanzania, and I says, it's on my list there. And I said, while I still physically can, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah. And he says family's going to start a business for taking. I said, well, let me know.
Yeah, wow.
I'll be up there.
I would say it's a tie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. I think helicopter tour of Las Vegas, that's if it's short of a bucket list, but it's a check mark for sure. Yeah. So do it for sure. Mine's a tie. Either the tour of the graveyards of New Orleans.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Nighttime. Mm. Yeah, very interesting to do that at night. And in the very, very eastern southern part of Cancun, There is an adventure park called Xterra. There's another one called Cadet, but Xterra, and it was a combination zip line, driving jeeps, driving off-road vehicles, underwater caving, and adventure swimming.
Wow!
All in one thing.
Wow, that sounds great.
You know, it was so fun, and all along it was like all inclusive. You can eat in the park and drink in the park, and the whole time it's a one ticket price, very reasonable. And my family and I had a great time. So I think those were my favorite for sure.
Yeah. Are there any tours you'd like to go on you haven't gone on yet? I mean, that's.
Oh my gosh, here in Vegas, let's see if I can think of one in Vegas. Wow. You know what I never did, and I think I would like to do is a long airplane tour. You know, they offer some that go up to Carson and come back, because I've never been to Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be one. But as far as a global tour, see, I don't need to climb the mountains. I don't need to do Everest and Kilimanjaro. I think. I would like to see what I can't remember. My mind is drawing a blank right now. I would like to see the I think it's in Thailand. It was the temples that are there.
Maybe the one in Cambodia?
Yeah, what is it in Cambodia? What's it called? Oh, we're going to have to... We will...
Angkor Wat.
Angkor Wat, yes. I want to see that.
Yes.
I think a tour
great.
of that would be great. Just to say I was in... they filmed Mortal Kombat there, of all things. But yes, Angkor Wat, I think, would be a wonderful place. Or any Wat, I think. But that would be one. That would be one. So you're wearing your System of the Down shirt. Weren't they just here? Or were they elsewhere?
October they were here.
Good concert?
Good concert. I'm still ruining that the drummer threw the drumstick into the audience and it hit me. I caught it. I mean, it was thrown right at me.
Yes.
But I thought, how do I tried to catch it like a football.
Yeah.
Because it's going end over end, right?
Yeah.
So I jump up to try to cradle it like a football. Well, it hit me in the chest and it bounced up and I didn't get it. So I'm still thinking about that.
Well, on one final note, I saw, and I think I saw what I saw. I don't know. I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Def Leppard is having a short residency here.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Where? Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood. Yeah. That's right. In fact, I saw Joe Elliott on the news this morning. He's a singer, lead singer for Def Leppard. I saw Def Leppard in Japan.
Yes.
God, that had to have been 25 years ago. And they were kind of a joke, I thought, at the time, because you looked at them, and I'd seen Led Zeppelin live. I thought, they still looking like Led Zeppelin, right? And the guy looks the same. He's got his hair parted down the middle. And he's got the hairstyle from the 70s. He's just more wrinkled.
Yeah.
Like, aren't we all? So, yeah, I saw Def Leppard back then with the one-armed drummer.
One-armed drummer.
Yeah.
And I think the lead singer has, or there was a urban legend he had Crohn's disease.
Yes.
Or maybe it was an urban legend, but he would, people always think he would go underneath the stage.
Yeah.
And
get humped or
pork
something.
one of the fans.
Yeah.
And it was not. He had a terrible affliction, but
yeah. Kind of like Elvis, when he was changing he's doing a costume change. Well, he did because he shit his pants, right? Because his doctor used to have to give him enemas. Before they would time it, like, okay, he's going to take this massive dump before the show. Well, sometimes it didn't, nature's nature.
Best laid plans.
Best laid plans. Right?
So all of you hair band, 80s rockers, Def Leppard, Planet Hollywood.
We've got Def Leppard. Of course, they got Aerosmith.
Yeah.
And they've got other, they had Journey did one for a while anyway at the Hard Rock.
Yeah. Not with Steve, though.
No, not with Steve, but with the sound alike.
Yeah. He's pretty amazing. Well, John, thanks. That was it for tours. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. That was just a real small slice of the tours that are offered here in Las Vegas. There's actually city tours as well that you can take. But thanks to Willa and Donnell for your questions. Please hit us up on all of our social media spots. You can catch the Pod Bay Door Show on all of your favorite podcasting formats. But for John, this is Jamie, and we will see you next week. Thanks to everyone listening and watching. You can catch the Pod Bay Door on the Podbean app or any of your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, and Stitcher Radio. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel at the Pod Bay Door Podcast. Please download, like, and subscribe. Our social connectivity screen is coming up. Check in with us on Facebook, Twitter, and WordPress. The Pod Bay Door is closed and talent is out. Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the show. We would love to hear your show suggestions and comments. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, please click to subscribe. You can also connect with us on Facebook using @PBD Podcast, on Twitter using @TPBD Podcast, and on WordPress at thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com.